Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648 or internationally at 727-873-7618. Now, David White.
And welcome all to another exciting edition of the Power Trading Hour. As always, we meet at the appointed time.
The following takes place between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m.
So what do we have on deck here? Well, we're down about 3. We have pretty much been holding it, maybe 3/4 or 0.8% lower on the S&P cash. We need to go back and test yesterday's low. I've been looking at the SPYs because I've been playing the options on those. But let's go back here. What was the low yesterday? Got to be able to find, where was that low? Was it Monday? No. It had to be lower than that. I'll have to go back and find. I thought it was 394 and 50 cents or 395 460, something like that. I don't see it in my chart right at the moment, but I'll go back and look at the break. Anyway, I guess I can do that too. Hang on just a second. If I can actually do this, I should be able to see it. SPY. Okay. There it is, 394.83. Oh, the day before that, 393.61. So probably somewhere in there. And then, of course, yesterday, 394.49. So we've got a bunch of noise right back in that under 395 area on the S&P cash. And that's probably going to tell us a lot when we get and test it. And I think we're going to test it before the end of the day. Question is, we get that volume. If not, then probably some kind of pop tomorrow. But pretty much all my indicators are flashing fairly decent bearish signs. And the problem is that it's just all bearish below. There's no real standout number out here that just kind of pops out saying that, this is exactly where we're headed. There just, is it going to be a little lower or a whole lot lower? Anyway, we'll see that. Normally, you get on a Wednesday before expiration, you're going to get your low in here probably in the next hour and 15 minutes. So keep a close weather eye on it. You can always email me at path@tfnn.com. Of course, you can put a message in the den. And you can call me at 877-927-6648. And it's been far too long since someone called in. Okay, had a couple people ask. Tim Ord is going to be back tomorrow for the show, so we'll have that. So get your questions ready early and email them to me so he can actually take a look. He's not generally the kind that gives you a decision in anything less than 30 minutes of looking and staring at charts, so best to get that up front. Again, email me at path@tfnn.com. Thanks, 394.49, yeah. Okay, so what else do we have here? I wanted to go to that. Target and, of course, Lowe's came out before the bell. We'll take a quick look at those. TGT. Yes, it's going to get it. It's come back up a little off the lows, but you got a lot of volume. And, of course, they cut on the top line. They cut on the bottom line. They cut in the middle of the line. There's no line these guys won't cut, and that is Target. Very different business proposition than Walmart has when people are pressed for funds. But my guess, you blew through the previous lows, you're into a gap. Yeah, are you getting a bounce now? Hard to think that you're not going to see tax selling in these that don't perform well in the next few days. 145.19 is the next support level in Target. And, of course, Lowe's kind of the opposite side of this with a nice pop higher. It is going through the previous high that had 8 million shares. That was 221.19 on August 17th. You got 5.6 million shares already, but it's not holding it. So you've got kind of a nice little pop. Let me go back to this so I can see. Okay. Anyway, yeah. So you're up 3.5%, although you were up almost 5.5%, I think, when I saw it earlier. So that's kind of a tale of two cities between Walmart and Target. Now, of course, Lowe's seems to be a little better off than HD was yesterday, at least from my memory. Just kind of holding at the highs, not pulling back. People still spending money on their houses is kind of the narrative of financial TV, financial infotainment TV. So we got that. Not a lot of volume out here in Home Depot either, but my guess is that the earnings weren't that good, and you may see a little bit of a pullback to maybe 300, 298 maybe on Home Depot if the market does not get on its high horse and start moving higher. Okay, other things. After the bell tonight, we've got Cisco and others. We'll talk about those later if we get time. Literally nothing to talk about out here on Cisco. It has done nothing but go sideways. I don't know how you can say anything about a stock that goes sideways. Volume, higher, lower, doesn't matter because it's sideways. So the question is, just how much are these big web server farms going to cut for spending? Because, of course, the more servers you put in, you're going to have to buy a router. You can't buy the cheap Chinese router because it's full of their hacks. So, if you're in China, just assume all your data can be sucked up at any moment from the Chinese routers. Cisco, it's got problems too, but maybe just not as bad. Maybe it's the NSA getting it instead of the Chi-Coms, but you never know. Little less problem, but kind of the same. So anyway, it'll be an interesting after the bell tonight as we go through that. Do we have enough time to get to this question? Well, maybe we'll get started with it. Even Stephen Wonder can see today's minuscule volume pullback is extremely bullish on what? On XOM, huh? Yeah, I mean, the dollar does kind of everything you do, or you're thinking about, but just hanging around at the highs, the problem is you're just waiting for the bad news that's going to make this drive through and higher. But yeah, maybe next week. I don't know if you actually get a change in Exxon this week. We'll be back in a minute.
Currencies, commodities, and bond markets are as important as ever right now with how they're driving the volatility in equity markets across the globe, which is why it's a great time to try out Teddy Kegstad's Tiger Forex Report. Teddy Kegstad breaks down the Forex markets every Monday using his 30-plus years of experience as a trading veteran of futures, Forex, stocks, and options. Teddy releases his weekly Tiger Forex Report every Monday morning with coverage of all the major currency pairs, including the dollar index, the euro dollar, pound dollar, dollar Swiss, dollar yen, as well as many more, and he also has weekly coverage of the crude oil market and the 30-year T-bonds, as they both influence Forex markets tremendously. When you sign up for the Tiger Forex Report, you also gain instant access to Teddy's 60-minute webinar archive he just hosted, Forex Strategies and Fundamentals, What is Behind the Tiger Forex Report. For all the details and to start your 30-day Tiger Forex Report subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Are you grinding in the market, but seeing little to no return? Or are you a successful trader, simply looking to make your job a little easier? Learn to take the path of least resistance with David White's powerful trading newsletter. David White is an accomplished trader whose deep understanding of technology and the markets allows him to consistently find and share winning trades. Support and resistance define the ranges in which stocks trade. By understanding these trading ranges, David White is able to find the path of least resistance. David White's trading newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, is delivered daily before the markets open to make every trading day an easy win. Visit TFNN.com today and subscribe to David White's Ultimate Trading Newsletter for $119 a month. And try all of our newsletters risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee. Take the path of least resistance at TFNN, educating investors. Are you looking for a way to consistently add winning trades to your portfolio? Tom O'Brien is here to help. Tom O'Brien has been successfully trading markets for over 30 years. A frequent contributor to TD Ameritrade Network and CNBC, Tom O'Brien founded TFNN over 20 years ago to help educate investors just like you. Tom's daily market newsletter, Market Insights, is published every morning when the markets open to give you the competitive informational edge you need to succeed. These newsletters are packed full of Tom's advanced technical analysis and are geared to deliver comprehensive strategies for a successful portfolio. Get Tom O'Brien's newsletter, Market Insights, today and try all of our products and newsletters 30 days risk-free with our money-back guarantee at TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
And hopefully we still have Steve Austin, the $1 Million Man, on.
Yes.
How you doing today?
Dave, doing well. Yourself?
Another day in paradise, if the clouds would just go away.
Yeah, I was wanting your opinion on EQT, on some of these natural gassers. What do you think about that?
Well, you've got a nice low volume pullback so far. You're at the bottom of the gap on this one. See.
It looks like it's in a triangle, kind of.
Yeah, but
Longer
you got pretty close to the high on the 14th.
Yeah.
Right. So,
yeah.
And that was on lighter volume. You had 8.3 million shares on November 7th, and then you tried to hit that on the 14th with 6.7. So you're 2 million shares lighter, and now you've kind of started to pull back. The thing about natural gas is it's all about the weather forecast.
Yeah.
And I don't watch it close enough, and it's normally pretty nice down here, so it doesn't affect me much. But that's it. I mean, you got to be watching the weather forecast to trade natural gas on a shorter term basis. On a long term, it's going to get cold this winter, and it's going to be problematic. But I don't see a lot out here other than the weather that's going to change the equation on this.
Okay, what is your opinion on the natural gas futures? Because it looks like it's pulled back, and it could do some additional pullback. But I'm not sure whether you follow the natural gas futures and what your long-term thinking is on that.
No, I don't. I've never played them ever.
Okay.
I like to know what my loss is going forward. And, I would much rather play options when I know whatever the risk is limited. So to me, I go right to the ETFs first. And there's a lot of shenanigans with just how thin a lot of these markets are, that I don't put a lot of cotton into what's going on in those aftermarket and all the other gyrations. You get kind of the move that you see on natural gas on Thursday at 10:30. That's something I've kind of looked at. The EIA numbers on Tuesday, the EIA numbers today. What are the ones last night? AIP on Tuesday night. But the only way I've ever made money on this is just watching the weather forecast closely.
Okay.
And as soon as you know it's getting bitterly cold and people are going to freeze, then it tends to start running. What I can tell you is I know that not only in crude oil, but in liquid petroleum gas, a lot of these people have been putting it away. And so it's not really finding a lot of the market right now where the temperatures aren't so brutally cold. And they're all just assuming that as soon as everything really turns cold in Europe, all the prices are going to take off. But of course, they've got a bunch of ships circling the North Atlantic right now based on that theory. So, a lot of times doing that.
That's the way it looks to me. That it's kind of already anticipated a little bit.
Well, here's the thing, and that is that I've kind of look at this the way in the market, and that is that anything that everybody knows about already takes an awful long time to come. The watch kettle never boils.
Yes.
I mean, you can know it, and everybody knows it. The longer it takes for anything to happen, so I would just say that it's not a bad play. It's just not one that's going to happen the next 15 minutes, or you're probably going to see it on a 1-minute bar or some kind of other signal. Generally, it is when demand really changes, and that's when the weather gets cold. So, you're looking for some kind of Arctic polar blast, and you want to be the first one to hear about it, or fairly soon after that, and then go to town on the stuff. Buy options. I'm not a big fan of buying the futures. But I'd be buying options on maybe the UNG or Boyle or some of those other ones out there just to limit my risk. Can you buy options on the futures for natural gas?
I don't know. I don't do that.
Yeah, I think you can, which is another way. But I think they're horribly expensive. Maybe that's why I haven't looked in the last 10 years at it.
The volatility is too much, and so the spreads are way. I mean, the premium that you have to pay, I think, is excessive.
When I've played these before, I've always waited until they're so washed out that they're basically giving it away and then buy the calls.
Okay.
But that's been me, and I have done it a few times in UNG and made some money. But this tends to be like gold for me. And that is that unless everybody is just saying it's over and it's done with and there's no volume at a low and everybody shuts up about it. But the more people talk about it, like natural gas or crude, just the longer it takes to get to where it's probably going to go anyway.
So you think there's some more downside to this?
Maybe not a whole lot, but my guess is that you get bored out, sell it, and then it takes off. So that's generally the way that these things do. I mean, how many times did we see gold kind of wash everybody out, dispirit them? Mm-hmm. And my guess is that 1 out of the 10 people that had been talking about gold for the last 2 years, only 1 in 10 of them were probably in it when it did take off. So the secret, if any, is to hold your powder so that you don't get bored or nervous and blown out a bunch of times before the big move comes.
Yeah. Okay. Dave, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
You bet. Thanks for the call. And, of course, that's the $6 million man from Austin, Texas. Steve Austin. Okay. What else do we have? Oh, we were going to get into that, how much time I've got left. Okay. Well, we'll just look at Boyle real quick. Got some decent volume in this one. Yeah. I don't know if there's much. We were talking in the den earlier, and interestingly enough, trying to come up with better names for the ETFs for crude natural gas. I think Dino should be the symbol, don't you? DINO, Bam Bam and Dino. I think that just makes sense. I'm surprised someone hasn't done that already or created a ETF for fossil fuels called Dino. But maybe that's just me. Anyway, keep a close eye on the volume here. Generally they'll try to push it down through options expiration through on Wednesday. And then maybe you get kind of a bounce on Thursday. And if they're going to smack it down very badly, it's probably going to be on Friday the way this is setting up. We'll be back in a minute.
If you want to take advantage of this sector, now is the time to subscribe to my Gold Report. The Gold Report is a comprehensive look at the metals sector as well as the markets that move gold, which is the currency and bond markets. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. Every Monday morning, I publish the Gold Report with coverage of gold, silver, bonds, the XAU, HUI, GDX, as well as more than 30 different mining equities. To see for yourself the types of profitable trades that are recommended within the Gold Report, sign up now by visiting TFNN.com. Don't miss out on the next great gold trade. Sign up today.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. For free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABCs, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Thinkorswim. For more information, just click the Thinkorswim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And we're back. Make sure and give me a call, 877-927-6648. Email me at path@tfnn.com. And if anybody's calling, see if we can do this. For some reason, I've got myself boxed into a canyon in Discord here and can't get out of it. So I don't know exactly what's going on that, lest I close it out and try to rerun it. Maybe I'll do that. Okay, we'll come up here, we'll do that, and then we'll get into getting it back on. Okay, share my screen, go to that, Okay, go live. It should be there. Okay. And okay, there we go. Okay, what else do we have? Captain Nemo and the Cantina Band. Huh. Okay, we'll go to this. Okay, let's go to Cisco. Oh, we already didn't we? Just going sideways. Let's go and take a look at what else is going on. Oh, I wanted to get to Micron. Micron also came out, decided to... Yeah, that was the first thing I thought of this morning was Blazing Saddles on what to name a natural gas ETF. Probably want licensing fees, though. I think Dino... I remember when there used to be gas stations with giant dinosaurs. But, okay, anyway, Micron, decent gap lower. As we said yesterday, there were a ton of stocks. Sinclair Oil, thanks. There were a lot of stocks with 3 gaps higher. We were looking for some of these to start pulling back. Micron was one of them. I don't know if I brought it up or not. Can't remember anymore. But it certainly was one of those. Anyway, other stocks tonight is NVIDIA, AVDA. We'll take a quick look at that. You got a little bit of the same thing here. You just don't have the volume quite yet. But you had the big gap at about 37. You got the second gap at about 42. And then you got this gap today at 165. Last year, they were selling kind of the next to the top of the line video card for $800, and scalpers were buying them and selling them for $1,400. So this year they've come out with the last year it was the 3080. Now they got the 4080. 4080 instead of being $800 is $1,200, and no one's scalping it. But as far as everybody can tell, there isn't much difference in the cost of making a 3080 with a 4080. I'm wondering if they're not going to talk about that extra $400 of additional profit and margin on those cards that's coming out. It's certainly not going to be a negative in my book. The question is whether or not and how well these things are going to sell. The high one that is about $1,600 is the 4090, and those have sold all through. They didn't sell out in the first day, but they don't have, if you call up, it's going to take a day or two before any more come back in for you to buy. And that's a $1,600 card going into a computer that's probably $2,000. So you're probably talking, with all the other stuff you add, a $4,000 to $5,000 computer to play games on. Maybe you're using it for business and machine learning. Maybe you could justify it with that. But the question is, a bunch of people asking it for the YouTube influencers in video gaming. Is it really worth double to get the last 20% of performance? And, it can be kind of tough. Certainly AMD is offering a much better value proposition. But when you get shot because your video card isn't fast as someone else's video card, don't really seem to matter, right? It's, you get killed, and that's it. And that's what most people are thinking of. Anyway, you got kind of similar patterns here between NVIDIA and this, but it'll be very interesting to see. You do have a little tri-star top. I think that's the right definition for that. 3 little dojis up here and the pullback. You just don't have a lot of volume today. I wouldn't be forecasting this, probably because NVIDIA and AMD are almost always on the top of the most heavily shorted stocks in the S&P 500 and NASDAQ every day. Everybody is always betting that this thing's going lower. They tend to come in with these things into earnings, and you've got to get a total blowout to get what you want being short. And if you've got options, they're probably overpriced to the extent that you probably need a $10 or $15 move in NVIDIA to break even. And that's always the tough part of this, is that you're looking at a 5% move on almost everything. You're probably talking about a 7.5% to 10% move on earnings in NVIDIA and AMD to break even. And then, of course, if you got to do that, then what's your, are you going to be able to get 3 or 4 to 1 back on it? I'm not. So it's not a big or a play that I like to think about a great deal. We've got some more emails coming in, so let's take a look here. Okay. Okay, we got that. Okay, already talked about all those. What else do we have? Copart, CPRT. Yeah, looking for 55. Oh, they must have pre-announced. I don't remember that. Probably not much going on. The Hildebrand. And, of course, in EVs, we've got SQM, Chemical Mining of Chile. I'm trying to remember what you used to call it. I've already forgotten. Anyway, you got some down moves on this. Probably the most interesting news in EVs this week comes out of Europe, where the Chinese EVs are starting to hit the roads up there. About $37,500. Happy Cat, Something Cat, Scrappy Cat. Anyway, they got some Chinese-like names for the cars. They look like a BMW Mini, and they've got about 200 miles, maybe 190 miles of range if you're lucky. But if you're in Europe, that's probably fine. No real plans on shipping that car here in the United States. But, of course, everybody's going to need lithium to continue making lithium-ion batteries for it. Smelly Cat? What's the one that they used to sing on Big Bang Theory? Happy kitty, smelly kitty, purr, purr. Yeah, that's it. We'll be back in a minute.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern, for free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
The technology around us is changing every day. With so much happening, it can seem impossible to keep up with all the information. David White's investment newsletter, The Technology Insider, is designed to give you all the information you need to understand the technology that shapes today's markets and tomorrow's future. David White has made his living staying on the cutting edge of technology. His weekly newsletter will give you specific recommendations for value tech stocks, as well as entry prices, target prices, and stops to set for each trade. Dave delivers his weekly newsletters every Friday with updates throughout the week. You can get the Technology Insider at TFNN.com for only $37.50. Sign up for David's newsletter, The Technology Insider, and get an inside look at everything the technology sector has to offer. Try it risk-free today with our 30-day money-back guarantee. TFNN, educating investors.
Are China A-shares hot or not? If you trade China A-shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A-share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A-shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
This program is brought to you by Vista Gold, traded on the NYSE American and TSX under the symbol VGZ.
And as we come back, thanks for holding on the line. We'll go to Michael in Portugal.
Hey, how you doing, Dave?
Pretty good. Well, you're in one of the...
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're in one of the two countries that actually does speak Portuguese. I don't know if there are any more. I just knew Brazil and Portugal. Is that it?
Brazil and Portugal, yeah. And they're actually very different, but different accents. But anyway, I can't speak either of them very well at all, enough to get my groceries. But I was wondering, you used to have this great chart before options expiration that would show the SPY premiums for calls and puts and how they kind of crisscrossed and showed where the market was looking to pin the price on the SPY near expiration. Is that something you still do?
Yep. Mostly for the newsletter, but I bring it in. This is what I was talking about earlier at the beginning of the show, and that is...
yeah, you were.
You got... the problem is that just because it points down there doesn't mean it's going there, but that does mean that there's the bias. But this is a very interesting expiration in that every 5 points lower, you've got support. The 395, 390, 385, and really it's pointing to 380 as the perfect place for all this stuff. But there's probably not enough time and probably not worth the money. Because if you're going to push stuff around, it's got to make economic sense for the market makers to do so. And if you can you're basically looking right now at the 400 to 395, taking off almost about $350 million. So probably not a big deal there. The next real move down takes you from 395 to 390, and that would be about 1.2 billion, about 300 billion itself. So you can start seeing as you come down, just how much money is there. Now the question is, how much is it going to cost you to move it, right? Because the whole idea behind this is they're constantly hedging the positions to try to get the least amount. And a lot of that ends up being them pushing the market higher and selling a lot of calls, which is what they did over the last week. Okay, now all those calls are going to money heaven. But the more that they can push this lower, the more that they get to keep. They'll be fine anyway, but the more that they push it down, the better it could get. But it's kind of a black hole. It's hard to tell. There's nothing that really sticks out and says just that, other than we're probably going to be weaker into Friday. Now, a lot of times by the end of today, that will come back into focus a whole lot more on whatever they did with hedging today. But I won't see that till probably 3:30, 3:45 market time.
Okay, that's very interesting. That's great analysis. Now, I can only see us going down that far if there's some kind of black swan event, like some debacle with this FTX where people have lost so much money. I saw a quote that maybe 90% of what was deposited with them was lost, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's not going to be enough money.
I doubt the Fed will step in because they don't really want to support cryptocurrency.
Yeah,
so I don't know if that might cause a problem with other cryptocurrency exchanges or what. I don't know.
No, that's not going to be enough money. You know, it is a zero-sum game. Someone got that money, right, when they sold it.
Yeah.
And someone put it in and they lost it. So the only real difference here in this is where did it go? It probably went from a lot of little hands to a handful of very big hands, right? But that money in dollars still exists somewhere. It's not like everybody just held on to their Bitcoins and no one sold it. Someone's got it somewhere, right? And so I don't think it's going to cause.
I saw two more exchanges stopped withdrawals. Gemini, which is pretty big.
Yeah, but
the guys that
it's just
that's
the problem is
Facebook.
The problem is there's just not that much in Bitcoin. For everything everybody's yelling about, it's a tiny island next to Texas, right? You've got
San Pedro Island. That's the name of the island, San Pedro.
It's a tiny island. Then you've got something the size of Texas. And then you got something the size of the United States. And that's the way about the dime to scale I would go for Bitcoin or all kinds of cryptocurrencies. The equity market is Texas, and the bond market is the entire United States. That's the difference in scale for the money in different markets. The bond market's 10 times bigger than the equity market. The equity market may be 100 times bigger than the Bitcoin market. So,
last thing, real quick before I go, you mentioned a song. Was that the cat song? Was that the one from Big Bang, or was that the one from Friends?
It was Happy Kitty. Happy Kitty, Sleepy Kitty, purr, purr, purr. It was the one I was thinking of, but I know the other one. But that one, I don't want to put in anybody's head. The one from Friends?
The Smelly Cat song.
Oh, that was cruel and unusual punishment. And I think eventually, when justice is served, there will be a Nuremberg trial for whoever sang that song. Okay?
Hey, thank you again, and have a great day. Have a great week.
Happy Kitty, Sleepy Kitty, purr, purr, purr. That's the one I was thinking of.
Okay, that's a nice one. I enjoyed that. With Penny sang that to
Sheldon.
Sheldon, yeah. Okay, good luck.
Okay.
Thanks.
You bet. Thanks for the call. 877-927-6648. As I said, you know, when we look at options, sometimes they've got kind of a reasonable move, and you can see it. The problem is that it's just all down from here, and there isn't anything that really kind of jumps out. 395 is support, and we've been beating against it kind of all day long. It's more about the close today. If we can get a solid close below 395, then a lot more downside would be opened. If we can't, that's probably telling you that they're going to pop it one more, and maybe Friday's a 100-point down day in the S&P cash. But we'll see. Again, they're always backing and filling and hedging all the positions, so they change all the time. I tend to run those numbers a couple of times a day, but generally the real meat of it is late in the day, about 3:30, 4 o'clock, as it goes to the close. You find out what they really did, and you kind of have to play it on the next day. But that's it. Anyway, we're watching very closely. I'm watching the SPYs anyway, 395, and that test of yesterday's low. And we just been kind of playing at it and picking at it. So it'll depend whether we can get that out of the way today or if we blow through it. Be back in a minute.
If you're looking for potential trading setups in the stock market, then Rocket Equities and Options Report is a newsletter you should try. Tommy O'Brien delivers options and equity trades when the markets present them, using a combination of fundamentals and technicals. Sign up for Rocket Equities and Options Report today with a 30-day money-back guarantee so you have nothing to risk. For all the details and to start your subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Everything in the universe is governed by the Fibonacci sequence. This mathematical principle is responsible for everything from the most aesthetically pleasing artwork to patterns in the stock market. To stay on top of stock patterns you can take advantage of, sign up for the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter at TFNN.com. When you subscribe, you'll get a weekly report from veteran day trader Larry Pesavento on stocks you need to pay attention to. And you can trust Larry's analysis. After all, he's got 45 years experience as a day trader. Larry will also provide daily charts, videos, and data on the key markets that he's tracking. Expect notifications from Larry on market movement you need to act on at any time. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. Subscribe to the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter today. TFNN.com, educating investors.
TFNN has launched the Tiger's Den. Hosted at Discord, TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. The Tiger's Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. Sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders. Just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
And as we come back, getting ready to wrap up another excellent power trading hour. And we're just playing around here at these lows. I think we're going to get some kind of test of the low. I would hope we would. And then, if you're bullish, then you can say, hey, I got my test. We can move forward. But I don't know. That's still hanging out there. Maybe we go just gap through it tomorrow. More than likely on options expiration weeks, though, that gap lower, when you're pointing much lower, happens on Friday. And they'll continue to sell lots of calls throughout tomorrow. And, they're always trying to push one side or the other. And they don't always have to push the side that you would think that they want to. They can push a lot of calls out, get everybody all hot and bothered. And the more calls they sell, the more money that's going to go to money heaven as they hedge that out. Anyway, somebody in the den, Duffy, pointed out that not only did Micron kind of see a gap down, we saw that in Best Buy too, and this is not generally fairly good. They almost always have, I didn't look, but they almost have earnings right after Christmas, like a week or two or three, first part of January. And you get numbers fairly quick from them. But I've been in their stores, and there isn't that much moving. I was surprised that it held up that well, but it did go back up into a gap that came down on the 13th of September with 3 million shares. You got into it yesterday with 2.28 million shares and the big gap down here. And that's kind of how it happens. There's, was the energy wildly different? No. Would I have done anything other than expected a few bucks down today? No. But there's a lot of stocks don't look good. So just be very careful. Have your stops in. We'll watch and see how the market closes today. Don't be sell when you can, not when you have to. We'll see you tomorrow.
Building wealth trading in the stock market seems